Assalamualaikum and a very good day to everyone. My name is Najiha binti Muhammad Zaid, a postgraduate candidate from University Selangor. And for today's conference, I will be presenting a focus group study report by me and my team, which is the strategies to help elderly learning technology in Malaysia. So, as can be seen in the current slide, the percentage of people that are aged 65 and above is constantly increasing as years goes by, and it is concurrent with the growth in technology because we get introduced to new technologies, new devices, new systems, and new products almost every day. In referring to the Department of Statistics Malaysia, 10.7% of the whole population in Malaysia are made up of those that are aged 60 years and above, which are identified as elderly people, according to the United Nations. As for the percentage of smartphone users in Malaysia, a report by Statista found that 30% of smartphone users in Malaysia are made up of people that are aged 65 years and above. Over the years, many digital technologies and applications have been created with the intent to help people, including the elders, in their daily life activities, such as buying things online, staying in contact with one another, and also maintaining their health. Although the usage of technology is known to help make things easier for most people and may have products, and many products have been developed with the intention to help the elders, such as digital health products, digital health technologies, the digital gap in terms of literacy is still evident among the elderly. This could be due to the elderly feeling unready to fully accept and utilize technology in their daily life activities, which could be because of them being used to doing things manually and practically. Previous research has found that the elderly group of people adopts technology at a relatively slower rate compared to other age groups of people, and that they tend to only use the things that they are familiar with. Since there have been many technologies and mobile applications created to cater to the elderly needs, it is thus very important to encourage the elders to engage more with technology and to accept technology and health-related applications for their own benefits. So this study was carried out by conducting a focus group discussion, which is a session that involves a few people that has a similar background, experiences, and wide knowledge regarding a particular topic that will be discussed on. So the aim of this focus group discussion was to obtain ideas and strategies from the experts that can help the elderly to learn and adopt technology better. This focus group involved 6 experts, where 3 experts are from the gerontology field, which is studies regarding elderly learning, and the remaining 3 experts were from the information technology field, respectively. The experts were selected based on an inclusion criteria list, which includes having at least 5 years of experience in either gerontology or the information technology field. And another criteria is that the participants must have experiences in working with and conducting research that involves the elderly. This is to ensure that the information that is shared by the participants or the experts is based on real situations, real experiences, and not based on assumptions or the literatures that they have read. So the process of obtaining the strategies was that the focus group was conducted online and it was recorded. The recorded focus group, the recording of the focus group was transcribed to obtain a readable data, and once the readable data was obtained, it was analyzed thematically to obtain the themes which act as the strategies to help elderly learn technology. So the overall process here resulted in the obtainment of 5 strategies that can help elderly to learn technology better. So the first strategy is to encourage participation and motivation among the elderly learners, which according to the experts, elderly learners, they lack self-confidence in themselves and that they tend to hinder themselves from trying and learning something new, and that this includes technology. They are also nervous and anxious about using technologies, and from the focus group discussion, one of the experts mentioned that educators or anyone that will be introducing and teaching the elders technology should at least try to increase the motivation of the elders, and that building the elderly's self-confidence is actually very important in the process of learning of the elderlies. The second strategy is to consider the cognitive and the physical abilities of the elderly learners. As a person grows older, they tend to experience a decrease in their ability to function their cognitive and physical abilities, where it is unlike how they were able to do when they were younger. This will inevitably affect the needs of the elderly people, thus creating a barrier for the elders to fully engage themselves in any learning sessions that they are involved with. So the experts in the focus group discussion mentioned that the cognition ability of the elderly is definitely something that is needed to be considered as an effort to recognize the barriers faced by the elderly. Thus, once the barriers are identified and are recognized, a better learning session and better learning experience for the elderly can be created. Moving on to the third strategy is informal learning setting. So which is, according to many studies from the past, informal learning is a method of learning that is highly preferred by the elders because it is a learning process that is the opposite of the traditional or the classroom learning session, where instead of learning following a syllabus, having a fixed timetable, having seating arrangement, informal learning setting is where people can learn freely. They can learn whenever, however, whatever, and wherever they want to learn, according to the preferences. And one of the preferences of the elderly is actually intergenerational learning, where they learn with people that are in the younger generations of them. Which in this case usually refers to their grandchildren. So based on previous research, the elderly actually do not mind learning intergenerationally or learning with the younger ones because they have trust in the younger ones and that they acknowledge that the younger ones definitely have more knowledge regarding technology compared to themselves. So this is agreed by one of the experts as they related that to their own research and own observation that the elderly are more motivated to learn when they are instructed or taught by their grandchildren, and that they enjoy learning when they feel that there is sufficient support from their family members or from their close ones. The next strategy is to incorporate audiovisual aids into the learning and teaching sessions with the elderly. So utilizing materials such as pictures, images, videos, graphic form, modules, and manuals, and even handbooks, and giving them to the elderly during the learning is very much preferred by the elderly because it helps them to visualize the steps and what is actually being talked about. As mentioned before, the elderly, they lose their cognitive ability bit by bit as they age. Thus, it will be difficult for them to follow verbal instructions, and to make them imagine things would be quite difficult and quite tricky for them. So explanatory audiovisuals can enhance the effectiveness of a lesson that the elderly is currently partaking in, because it helps the elders to maintain their focus, and that it helps them set their attention to what is currently being shared to them and not to other places or other things. A suggestion, however, provided by the one of the panels is that when incorporating audiovisual aids, it is important to take note that only include simple and non-complicated graphics as to avoid confusion for the elders. Now, the last strategy obtained from the focus group discussion is step-by-step learning, so that when teaching the elders, step-by-step learning, or otherwise known as structured learning, is one of the most effective ways to be used, and this is according to past researchers. It is also preferred by the elderly learners because step-by-step learning helps the elders to see the content flow of a particular lesson. It also helps them brace themselves or anticipate more for the next step of the lesson, thus decreasing their level of anxiety and anxiousness during the lesson. So step-by-step learning has also been acknowledged as one of the learning strategies that can definitely help the elders learn in a more effective way. An observation conducted by one of the experts of the focus group discussion is that the elderly are actually very, very structured people, and that they are okay and are very comfortable learning according to the steps or learning step by steps. However, another expert mentioned that when learning step by step, no disturbance should occur because it could affect their learning. So we have arrived at the conclusion. So this study basically conducted a focus group discussion that was aimed to discuss the strategies and what could help the elders learn better, that could be implemented by educators, instructors, or basically anyone that is planning to teach and introduce technological applications to the elderly people. So these strategies are hoped to be able to facilitate the learning session of the elderly people, thus creating a more effective and impactful learning experience for the elderly. Thank you for listening.